In the next couple of years, we're going to get 2 new expansion teams. Those 2 are going to be Seattle, like how everybody's been wanting, and Las Vegas. Now, I got this news from Shams because I was scrolling through X earlier and I seen that he had recently just posted a video of him explaining how the NBA in March is going to have a meeting talking about the 2 expansion teams that are going to be coming, and the front runners are Seattle and Las Vegas. Now, what does that really mean? The first thing I thought of was they're both on the West, so we need, and I mean need, to move over all those teams in the West that should be over on the East. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about Memphis Grizzlies. I'm talking about the New Orleans Pelicans. These teams geographically are on the eastern side of the NBA. Yet, when you look at where they're at, they're in the Western Conference. But more importantly, we're looking at Seattle coming back. After Seattle ended up moving over to OKC, there's always been this like ongoing depression amongst NBA fans to where the fact that like we just lost Seattle. Seattle was such a super fun team to watch when they had Sean Kemp, Gary Payton. It was just such a great color scheme. And when they ended up moving it over to OKC, it just became like lesser known. OKC, of course, they just won a championship, and of course they had that Russell Westbrook and KD era. But it sucks because Oklahoma as a city isn't that enticing compared to like a Seattle or a bigger market team. So when it ended up moving out, it just felt kind of weird. It felt like we had like an empty part of the NBA that hasn't really been filled up yet. And for years, the NBA fans have been pushing for Seattle to come back. And of course, if they add one team, they got to add another one. They got to have some sort of, it's got to be even on both sides. Now, exactly how they're going to bring it back, I'm not 100% sure. I know it's going to cost billions of dollars for them to maintain the teams, but are they going to keep the same color scheme? Because since they moved from Seattle to OKC, I'm not sure how that works when it comes to their rights, because technically Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm wrong, but Oklahoma obviously is Seattle. So if they bring Seattle back, it's not going to be the Seattle SuperSonics, which really sucks, because when you look at the history of the NBA, typically you go off of the name, not of the city, but of the team. The Minneapolis Lakers and the Los Angeles Lakers. Obviously, when you look back at the Lakers franchise, you look back at the Minneapolis Lakers. So with Seattle, with OKC, when you look at the history of OKC, you think of Russell Westbrook, you think of KD, think of early James Harden, and then you also think of Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, all of these other stars who played in Seattle, of course, Ray Allen as well. You think of those players, but now that Seattle is going to have a new team, how does that work with their history? Are you going to look at Seattle and be like, hey, last time we had a team play in Seattle, that's now OKC, so are they not going to be the SuperSonics? Does that mean that their color scheme has to change? I really pray that it doesn't, because that green and white and yellow, I really rocked with. If they can bring it back, I'll be more than happy to buy a jersey and have it up on that wall, because, man, Seattle deserves a team. They had a championship appearance, which the majority of the NBA teams right now don't even have. So they deserve their team back, but I just don't think, like, because of the rights that OKC has, since that's technically the original Seattle SuperSonics, if they're going to be able to have that same name or the same color scheme. And I can't wait to see how that happens with the courts. The majority of the NBA, for like at least the first couple of seasons, are going to be huge fans of Seattle, because every single NBA fan loved Seattle SuperSonics, and even if they didn't, they're sad that they doesn't have a team anymore. So for the first like 5 years of their existence, or at least until they win a championship, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, we want Seattle to come back. I also feel like the free agency signings, a lot of players might want to go to Seattle because they want to become that first player to really take that. And I'm talking about superstars here. They might want to be that first player to take that team to the championship for the first time since they made it to the finals in '96. And of course, in my lifetime, and and a lot of NBA fans as well, we haven't been able to see an expansion draft. And of course, this goes for both teams, Seattle and Las Vegas. I don't know how Las Vegas is going to work. That's one that, to me, I feel like, yeah, they deserve a team, but it's really difficult to figure out how their fan base is going to work, because Las Vegas is high, very, very high in tourism. Every single year, the majority of people who are there are tourists, just having fun, having parties, whatever. So are they going to have a legitimate fan base, or is the fan base of the Las Vegas just going to be scattered around the U.S. because there's not going to be an insane amount of people who are constantly in Las Vegas? And does the summer league stop being held in Las Vegas? There's a lot of different questions that I have around that team. But of course, I can't wait to see how they look, with their uniforms, what their jerseys are going to look like, what their courts are going to be like. And the last and final questions that I have for Las Vegas as a team is going to be, what stars would want to play there? What stars would want to play in Las Vegas constantly? It's going to be one of those like teams that you look at and be like, all right, Las Vegas, New York. Obviously, they have different levels of like big market, but Las Vegas is a very, very, very big and known city. So what NBA players are going to willingly go there and be like, I want to be a Las Vegas NBA player? You know what I mean? And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just the one that kind of thinking too much into like the city and all that stuff. But it's hard for me to see it that way. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of NBA players have not a narrative, but a storyline they kind of want to go with sometimes. And I'm not sure I can point out a certain NBA player who can be like, hey, I want to go there. When like the fan base, the stadium's going to be packed, I feel like the majority of the time. But like, how's the fan base gonna be? Well, how do you want to go to it? Do you want to go to a team that may not have the most loyal fan base out there? I'm not sure. But what I am very interested is when they start the expansion draft. Of course, I assume they're all gonna have their own picks for the next couple of years. Which one of them are gonna start setting right off the bat, setting all those players to get as many draft picks as possible so they can have a very good and long-term rebuild starting from scratch? And which of those teams are going to just start buying in right away? Is there like a certain team that might not protect a certain player that is very high in value, so then one of those teams just snatch them out their way and just start buying in on big name players? How do they start trying to make big trades, or do they just both start setting? Who knows? But we have NBA fans have been asking for this for forever, and we're gonna have so many meetings, and then they stopped, and then they like hold off on it now. And of course, we know that it's gonna be in the next couple of years. Not gonna be very, very soon, but it may happen like in the next 3 to 5 years. We are very excited to see what their jerseys look like, what their court looks like, how their fan base is gonna look like, what the color scheme is gonna look like, the logos, everything, because all of that matters. We're creating new cultures. New cultures in the NBA we're going to be creating. And we're going to be reshaping the NBA conferences because we're going to do 2 Western teams. So one of the teams from the West is going to have to come over to the East, probably Memphis, but that's also going to mess up like some of the division stuff. So we got to see how that kind of fits into everything. But as I always say, only time will tell. I appreciate you guys watching. If you want to watch more videos, 4 videos a week, by the way, subscribe because I know you want to watch more basketball content. So just subscribe. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Let me know what I could have done better in the video. And let me know what cities you guys would like having an NBA team. Do you guys want Seattle SuperSonics back? Do you want the Las Vegas teams as well? Or do you want a completely different one? Vancouver? Who knows? I would want Seattle and Vancouver. But hey, it's a different video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.